wanting to be more active. And we know spring sports are in play as well. And so if you've got a knee or ankle injury, whether it's just a strain or a sprain, we've got specialists there to treat the weekend warrior and the athlete. For more information, visit us online at kptonline.com or call us at 364-2806.
If you wake up in the morning with a backache, feeling more tired than you did when you went to bed, you probably need a new mattress. And the best place to get that mattress is Factory Mattress. Hi, I'm Kirk Smith, General Manager. For more than 40 years, Factory Mattress has been Greenville and Wilson's local mattress dealer. We guarantee the lowest price on the area's best selection with over 50 models to choose from. No seconds or overruns. Factory Mattress offers only first quality direct from the manufacturer. Sealy Posturepedic, Beauty Rest, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. The most highly trained sales associates with over 60 years of combined experience. Same as cash financing with zero interest up to 48 months and free local delivery. Face it, to have a good day, you've got to have a good night. So sleep better knowing you saved money at Factory Mattress, locally owned on Greenville Boulevard in Greenville, on Forest Hills Road in Wilson, on the web at factorymattressusa.com, and a proud member of Pirates Supporting Pirates.
Did you know time spent outdoors can help improve your children's health and bring balance to their life? The Outdoor Heritage Advisory Council invites you to join the Patch program. This program is for any child under the age of 16 and includes activities like fishing, hunting, and hiking. These are just one of the many ways you can earn the exclusive patches from the Outdoor Heritage Council. For more information on how to sign up and get your adventure started, visit outdoorheritage.nc.gov. Classic sports moments never get old, and neither does classic food from CPW's. CPW's classic menu is back with all of your favorites like tortellini CPW's, Cajun chicken and pasta, classic lasagna, the garbage pizza, the stromboli, calzone, Atlantic salmon, the Cajun fried shrimp wrap, and more. Start every meal off with your favorite beverage and CPW's fresh baked bread and garlic butter. CPW's, serving classics in Greenville since 1995. Stanton Square near the hospital.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the pirate nation. This is Eastern North Carolina's longest-running sports radio call-in show. The Brian Bailey Show is on the air. The Brian Bailey Show on Pirate Radio is brought to you by
Bostic Sugg Furniture, East Coast Grading, Angus Grill, Greenville Auto World, Papa John's, Pepsi, Seared Chop House, Taft and Hagler, and by Tiebreakers.
And now, here's Brian Bailey.
Okay, happy Monday, everybody. After a big series win for East Carolina Pirate Baseball, the Pirates take 3 out of 4 from Tulane, and they're back in first place in the American Athletic Conference. We're going to talk Pirate Baseball for the entire hour with Dr. Gary Overton. Every time I look up Coach O's stats and kind of thing, I forget that he's actually a doctor. Dr. Gary Overton is in the house, the former East Carolina Pirate baseball coach, the winningest coach in East Carolina history, and does a great job as the color commentator with the Pirate Radio Network. And Coach, first of all, welcome to the show. And I mean it. When you started doing radio, I don't know how comfortable you were, but you kind of evolved, and now it's like when you listen to the Pirate Radio, you want to hear Coach O. You want to hear what he's saying, what he's talking about. His opinion on the calls, that kind of thing.
Oh, Brian, thanks so much for saying that, but really an honor to be here with you.
I hear you. All right, we're going to talk Pirate Baseball, go through the Tulane series, because it was a great series. I mean, Tulane came to town, and they were chirping a little bit, and, those are the kind of games that, as a fan, you really like to see. That first game, the Pirates really set the tone. Gavin set the tone on the mound, and the Pirates set the tone with a couple of big home runs, didn't they?
Oh, that was the series, or the beginning of the series, which evolved into the end as well. And Game 1 and Game 4 were certainly remarkably played by the Pirates, no question about that. But Gavin Williams really sharp, and you're right, as Tulane came in with a 1.5 game lead, a lot riding on this series. As you mentioned, the chirping, I think much has been said about, the third pitcher from Tulane, Donovan Benoit.
Yeah.
His comments of, it isn't whether we'll win a game there, it's whether ECU can win a game. And the Pirates just took that and ran with it. Post-game show yesterday, comments by Cliff Godwin. Really interesting when we asked about Game 1 and Game 4 dominance and how the Pirates showed who really the best club was. And he said, well, we were only expected to win one game.
Yeah, I know. He kind of wrote that one. That was one of those tweets, as they say, that didn't age well for the Tulane pitcher. But I think that was one of the things that started with it, because I didn't hear some of the stuff that was going on with Coach Palumbo. I mean, I've read several accounts that said that they were on him from the very start, and Coach Palumbo obviously is a class act, and he didn't react to anything at all. But I'd like to talk to Jeff to find out exactly what was said. But that's kind of odd. It's kind of different. When I had Coach Palumbo in here several weeks ago, after the Cincinnati series, and he said the Cincinnati players were some of the nicest kids that he's ever even been around. That there'd be a double play ball at second, and a little collision, and they were helping everybody up and dusting everybody off. And he said you couldn't have been around a nicer bunch. Like they almost seemed like whether they really wanted to win the games or not. And then you get Tulane coming in here, and they came in here with a little chip, but I think they left with this chip is a little smaller now, isn't it?
Oh, no question. But Pirates, play really, really good baseball, even in the loss. That was a nip and tuck affair by all means, and of course a home run eventually won for Tulane. But Pirates did make some mistakes, but very, very few in that one game. Outside of that, 3 very well played games. So but the Pirates now solidifying themselves as the leader in the American Conference.
We'll dive into each one of these games coming up in just a bit. As a coach, take us back to your days and with the series for the weekends. And obviously the Colonial was the same thing, because you've got a 3-game set, which is what the American usually does. How difficult do you think it's been for Cliff and for the coaching staff and for these players to play these 4-game sets? A doubleheader every weekend. Now, you don't play any midweek games, but still you're jamming a lot of baseball into a short amount of time.
And really more so a change than difficult. It's just a different look. It's a different feel. So from a mental standpoint and the mentality of it all, it just has to be changed in a programmed way where you don't pace yourself through the weekend, but you have to stay focused for a longer period of time. As far as the physicality of it, that's a change as well, because there's some tired people at the end of the weekend, especially playing 9-inning games and doubleheaders.
Yeah, and just coaches will always tell you, it doesn't matter who you play, it's hard to sweep a doubleheader. And I think we've seen some of that, pan out this year, that everything has to go right. You have to have a little luck. You have to be really, really good. Obviously, the Pirates were able to sweep a couple of doubleheaders and sweep those series early on. They had the back-to-back splits, and then they take the series against Tulane. But to me, that's got to be one of the most difficult things is you take one game at a time. That's what the coaches say, but you got 4, and you got them right there, and every one of them is really critical when you look at things.
Yeah, all 4 each mean the same, and what's the old saying, champions win on Sunday, which is the last day, but by the time you get to Sunday, there's an evolution of the series to that point. Doubleheader sweeps, or more times than not a split.
Right.
The team that wins certainly has a little sigh of relief at the end. Well, right there's a letdown. Then you've got the other side that says, hey, we can't let this happen again, and the adrenaline flows.
Right.
And on all levels of baseball, that includes pro ball, including the big leagues, doubleheader splits are common.
I think Malcolm Gray told me the fine SID for baseball in East Carolina. He said he got to the ballpark Saturday at 8:05 a.m. and he left about 11 p.m. That's a long day of baseball and trying to get stats and trying to get everything organized. But it was a long day, those doubleheaders. I'm sure Clip Brock was there for a long time too, and doing the great job in the PA booth. But we're taking your questions and comments also on our Facebook Live page. If you have a question, a comment, there's so much to talk about with the series, with the Pirate players, with the rankings that just came out today, with the chance for a regional, those announcements coming up later on this week. Again, questions and comments on our Facebook Live page. We'll take our first commercial break. Back with more of the Brian Bailey Show on this Monday after this.
Wait up. Papa John's has a new stuffed crust? Oh, we did it. All our tweets, DMs, and carrier pigeons worked! This ain't just stuffed crust. This is Papa John's crust. Stuffed.
Hey, Pirate fans, order the new Epic Stuffed Crust One-Topping Pizza for only $12. The new Epic Stuffed Crust Pizza is the MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, the official pizza of the ECU Pirates.
Save during Bostic Sugg Furniture's Spring Styles event. Freshen things up, make a statement, and make it exciting. Save on new looks, new colors, new styles. We have so many beautiful ways to update your home. Explore our 35,000 square foot showroom. From name brands like Bassett, La-Z-Boy, Rowe, Kincaid, and Restana, get up to 15% off plus 6 months special financing, or get special financing for 48 months. Step up your style right now at Bostic Sugg Furniture.
Seared Chop House is Greenville's newest restaurant and the city's only true chop house. We combine a remarkable menu with an unrivaled atmosphere. Seared, a quality-driven experience highlighting a thoughtful approach to locally sourced ingredients and hearty, flavor-rich cuisine. We're firing up the grill at Seared, Greenville's only true chop house. Come see us, Fire Tower Road at Bells Fork or SearedChophouse.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Hagler of Taft and Hagler. We're proud to be sponsors of the Brian Bailey Show and the Pirate Nation on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. If you've been injured on the job or due to someone else's negligence in an automobile collision, call us at 752-2000 for a free consultation with experienced professionals who care. Go Pirates!
How much does the word reliable mean? Sure, all businesses describe themselves as reliable, and we certainly wouldn't expect any business to be unreliable, but when you take a word like reliable and make it your way of life, the entire core of your business, it tends to mean a little more. And it's something you have to show people, not tell them. At Delcor, we show it by being there the same day you call. We show it by simply doing outstanding work with exceptional products, a family-oriented work ethic, and genuine caring for all of our neighbors throughout Eastern NC, because in a time of need, we know the first and the only thing you need is someone you can count on. That's why we only use equipment you can count on too, like a train comfort system. It's hard to stop a train. Delcor can have a new train comfort system installed in no time, or we can provide an AC tune-up to make sure your system is performing well. So will your system keep you cool all summer? Find out. Call us. We're Delcor, the service professionals, reliable for over 4 decades. Visit DelcorInc.com today.
Hi, this is Phil Steele of Phil Steele's College Football Preview Magazine, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show. Now, back to Brian.
All right, welcome back on this Monday. Gary Overton, the all-time winningest baseball coach in East Carolina's great baseball history, is live in the studio with us. We're taking your questions or comments on our Facebook Live feeds. If you have anything at all, we will get those to Coach O. Coming up, 427 wins, 237 losses, and a tie. Who was the tie against back in that career of yours?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Game went 11 innings, rained out 1-1.
Really? 1-1. What year was that?
Wow.
I got you on that one. 5 NCAA tournament appearances, 5 Colonial tournament titles, 2 Colonial regular season championships, and also with Coach O. And one of the reasons I wanted to have him on, because he's got so much experience with the NCAA Division I Baseball Committee, the NCAA Division I Baseball Rules Committee, so he's got information on all kinds of topics. One thing before we go into some of the Tulane games is replay. Let me get your opinion. Do you like replay? Do you like how it's done? And what can we do to make it, if you think it needs to be? I think it can be changed and it can be better, but what do you think?
Well, first and foremost, it's great that we have it,
right?
Because there's a section in the rule book that actually says getting the call right. In other words, whether the umpires have to huddle or whether you have to go to replay or whether the replay is called. But most important thing is to get the call right. And I think even professional baseball would agree with just that. So the fact that colleges have it, very good. Things to be done better, yes. I'm not sure how it could be tweaked or if more things could be added. But right now, it is a start, and it is good.
The one thing that I don't like is everybody calls time, the umpires go out, and it seems like that they take so long. Are they trying to get it figured out without going to replay? first, and is that why it takes so long? It seems like to me it's like, what are you guys talking about? Dinner tonight? I mean, what's going on out there? And it takes forever and ever, and then they'll give the sign that they're going to the headphones and they're going to go out and check the replay out and get it right, or try to get it right.
Really good question. But what they're doing, the calling official, the umpire who actually made the call, is informing the other two who probably will go take a look. There are times where the crew chief goes regardless, but the calling official actually describes what he saw, and then possibilities of the play being, whether a foot was off the bag, whether a tag was or was not made, whether the runner was safe or out safe before the tag was made, any of those things. But he's trying to describe any and all opportunities that could come forth in the replay, because anything that would change the call can overturn the call.
So you think that little meeting is necessary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
can it be quicker?
Yeah, exactly. The length of it, no, but it's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like they get together and it takes forever. Now there was a play earlier in the season at third base, and it was reviewed, and Cliff was upset about it. And then it turns out that the umpire that made the call actually went back to see the replay, which Cliff said, that's usually not the case. But as you said, sometimes a crew chief can go back regardless.
Yeah, that was a non-conference game, and in non-conference games, supposedly the calling official will stay on the field while the other two review. In conference games, the crew chief does always go in to see, because he's in charge of the crew. So every conference is different. The SEC, ACC, the American, all a little different to who goes into the booth.
Okay, so what about in the NCAA tournament? Does it get unified there as far as?
My understanding is the calling official will stay on the field.
Okay, for the NCAA tournament. So,
yes.
So there you have that. On the rules committee, are there other things you look at, you say, hey, we could probably do a better job with this? Do we want to speed the game up? I mean, those games this week, they were long games now.
Well, first and foremost, every year the rules committee decides how to speed the game up, regardless of the stopwatch, which was brought in a few years ago, time limitations that are put on between innings. We could go on, but any ways to keep the game moving is so vitally important. But there's so many things tweaking of the rules is a big thing for the rules committee, not changing of the rules.
Have you seen anything this year that really you had to scratch your head a little bit about from the radio booth, and you're like, how is that call? Anything like that so far?
Well, no, it's just interesting how it seems like teams now are using all of their conferences, every possible every possible way to use the offensive conferences, with a third base coach talking to a hitter, or even a head coach coming out of the dugout talking to a hitter. Pitching visits, rarely do you see less than 3 used, which is the maximum for a game.
Yeah, and it just seems like when they're making those timeouts, and some of that is gamesmanship. I was sitting watching the game, and I was commenting to people around me, but Tulane called a conference. I think it was an offensive conference, but you could tell the coach, he was just waiting for he's going to make the umpire come and break it up so he could at least say something to him.
Yeah,
and that was and part of that's just the gamesmanship of the game.
Actually happened in yesterday's game 4 of the Tulane ECU series, and what the idea was, it was no question, he was not going to bring the umpire out. This was an offensive conference between the third base coach and the hitter. Instead, he was trying to rattle the pitcher. He was trying to stay as long as he could to keep the pitcher on the mound without any type of rhythm or any type of delivery. And obviously it didn't work, because Pirate pitching was really good yesterday.
Oh, we got a question from the Facebook Live feed talking about the Pirate pitcher that came in Game 4 with was it a blister? Is that what we came up with the injury?
Well, I haven't gotten that word yet. Well, not sure. But it had to be either a blister or something that developed while the pitcher was in the bullpen. But it was Danny Beal. Young guy,
Danny Beal.
And I had a 2-0 count on the batter, and Cliff opted to make the change, even though he could have stayed in the game.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that it can develop out of nowhere, and really for a pitcher that is a bad injury because it takes a while to heal.
Yeah, and it can start developing. It can start being aggravating just in the warm-up procedure, which I'm sure that's what happened yesterday.
Okay, we got another question, and I was getting this is on my list. In Game 1, Gavin Williams was called for a balk. I've seen the video, and I don't don't know everything about the balk rule, but I didn't see a balk in that. What do you think the umpire saw, and was it a balk?
Well, let me go a little further, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but Pirate right-handed pitchers do a great job with what's called a jump move. It's a jump and a throw at the same time. And the only thing, like you, I saw the replay and saw nothing at all. I think the umpire thought there was a step before the jump, which, unless you're backing off the rubber, which you can do, that's a balk. In other words, it's a false step or a stutter step, double step, whatever you want to call it. But I'm sure that's what the umpire was called. Had to be.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Do you think balk should be reviewed? Could that be in the process, or is that going to make our game even longer?
I'm not sure it can be reviewed because of the interpretation of a balk.
Right.
Yeah, and I think one umpire would see it different than a second, and it's too fine to be called. I don't think that should be reviewed.
And explain the rule with a left-handed pitcher. And we haven't seen it as much this year as we have in past years, especially with Kuchmaner, but he's got a great move. But what does he have? Is it 90 degrees as far as the plane? And that's really subjective.
No, it's an angle that goes from the mound toward the first base runner's box.
Right.
It's not to home plate, it's not to first base, but if he crosses that line, he has to go to the plate. That's one. Second thing is that on his elevated leg, once he rockers up, so to speak, then if that leg crosses the plane, he must go to the plate. He can't deceive the runner by taking the plane of his leg towards second base and then throwing to first base.
Because anytime Kuchmaner's on the mound, and he usually picks somebody off, at least he has in past years, and the other dugout is just killing the umpires for not calling a balk. But it's really close, and he's got a great move.
Yeah, and left-handers' moves really are so good with this. It's when you can get what looks like the lower body going to the plate, and then the upper body moves to first base, or vice versa, either of the two. Some lefties can do that, and of course it takes very good body control, but some lefties can do it.
And umpires obviously do the best that they can, and it's one of those things that during a day, sometimes it almost looks like they get tired because it looks like the same pitch that was a strike before is now a ball, and vice versa. When you were coaching, did you ever? You're not allowed to argue balls and strikes, but as a coach, what do you do to get your point across?
Well, that's usually done between innings, and it's not a visit to the umpire, not by any means, but a lot of times you'll send the catcher out with a message or to ask about location, or you have a high zone, you have a low zone, whatever. We're great with that, just the consistency of it, which one is which. Sometimes you'll even ask the catcher to ask him, you give the low or the high, what are we in or out, what is your option?
And that's a problem too, because if the catcher's back there and he thinks it's a perfect pitch and they're yelling, "Where's it at?" and he kind of gives it one of those, then the umpire knows, and he's not showing up the umpire, but he's kind of just saying, "Hey, I don't know where it was at either. It looked really good to me." But and I think it's one of those things late as we get with the season later and later. That's when balls and strikes, and because it's just. And going down looking with runners on base, that has always driven me crazy. But the better baseball that you're seeing, that's going to happen because the pitchers are so good.
Yeah, and you mentioned Kuchmaner. Let's go there for just a moment. He really works on the outside part of the plate so well. I mean, and he has good run on his fastball. And when he's getting that ball on the so-called black of the plate or just off of the plate, then he's really effective. Some umpires don't give that.
Yeah.
And when that happens, he's forced to go in a little more, and it's not to his benefit.
Yeah. And is there one of those deals too? A coach may walk by the umpire and he's trying not to get thrown out, but it's like are we even close? Is that one of the things that
Yeah, good point. But whatever the point is, it has to be positive. It can't be on a negative front. Now, we know there are some coaches that do demonstrate and show negativity, but there are others that as you said, they get their point across with just that. Hey, are we close? Hey, you're doing a great job. Our guy lives low, but hey, he's going to have to make the adjustment.
Yeah,
you're kind of feeding where he's going with his strike zone.
And a lot of it with umpires too, I think, is attitude, because a lot of those guys, they're good guys, and if they come across as a positive attitude toward a coach, I think it's a lot better. But some guys have had enough. Some guys are tired, and you can tell those guys they've heard it from the crowd, they've heard it from you, and the Tulane coach, I guess was the hitting coach, got warned Sunday early on, I think it was, and it's just, I don't know, it's just fascinating that, and I think it's magnified because you're playing 4 instead of 3, because everybody's, once you get in that 4th game, you played a lot of baseball, and everybody's pretty much ready to get this thing going, and let's just rest a little bit. But
another point to that is, the adjustments that teams are making by the time you finished 4 games, that team really well,
right,
and they know you.
Yep. And that was a question I had on my list as we go to the tournament. The tournament's going to feel like a breeze because you're going to play a game, and if you stay in the winners bracket, if I remember correctly, everybody plays on Tuesday this year. They've changed that rule, and then I think if you win Tuesday, you don't play again until Thursday, and so you can kind of get through that thing. The trick is to win early, right?
Absolutely, and then tournaments like that, if you can just stay in the tournament for a while, you're close to the end,
right?
Even if you're in the losers bracket. So just stay in that early and be successful early.
All right, we'll talk more about Clearwater coming up in just a bit. Let's go back to the Tulane series. 12-4 was the final in that first game. Gavin Williams goes to 7-0, and I was impressed with the way he went about his business, have been all year, because here's a guy who struggled with injuries throughout his career, but he's staying healthy, and he's one of the best pitchers in the nation right now.
Yeah, and you said he's been consistent all year. Very well said, Brian. But in addition to that, maybe a bit better on last Friday night. Threw a little harder. He many games he's been at 97, touched 98 several times on Friday night. But in addition to that, breaking ball, didn't go to it as early as he normally does because the fastball was working so effectively. And he was sharp and point on Friday night, maybe the best we've seen in him.
And I think it really shook Tulane when Braden Altoff didn't have the success that I think he thought he was going to have in that first game.
One thing changed that game. I really believe that when the home run was hit by Bryson Worrell, it was a slider in on the hands and down, and he hit the ball out. In so doing, a guy like Altoff even says, "What more do I need to do?" That was a great pitch in a great location. Many people can shake that off, but then others, the next pitch he leaves up and Cadell hits out a home run. So the Pirates really hurt him early and kind of took him out of his game, but that one good pitch that was hit for a home run changed the game.
Yeah, it really did, and the Pirates came through with that 12-4 win. The doubleheader in games 2 and 3, Pirates won that first game 7-4, and that was just a well-played baseball game, wasn't it?
Really was. Pirates again. Tyler Smith, the idea was for him to get to 5 innings, hopefully more, but once into the 5th, and then he plucked a batter. We know about that, and then I think there was a walk in there somewhere. But as runners started accumulating, Cliff Godwin made the change. Bullpen comes in, does the job, but more important, the offense padded leads.
Yeah, and the one thing that I've noticed really about this Pirate baseball team, the fact that if another team scores, they usually bounce back and they answer a lot of times in a bigger way than the top half of the inning had. And the other thing is the 2-out runs. And Cliff said this a while back, when I first started getting to know him and talking about baseball, and he would say championship teams, they score with 2 outs, and it's the half glass empty, half glass full deal. Some teams with 2 outs, okay, let's get our gloves, getting ready to go back out. I think this Pirate team's like, okay, we got 2 outs. We got plenty of time. Let's get it going, boys, and they do.
Yeah, he even has another thing that's really, really good. He says, 2 outs? We have a third of an inning left.
That's true, too. Yeah.
And he really stresses that to his hitters, but 2-strike hitting and 2-out hitting, this Pirate Club, all Pirate clubs under Cliff Godwin, but this one especially, he's really, really good at it. They find a way of scoring. To say that a team pads a lead, that's easy to do, but the focus in which they pad the lead, they're not just trying to finish the game. They're not just trying to hang on until the end. And that's what they did so well this weekend.
Halfway through the series with Tulane. Let's take a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk about games 3, games 4, plus plenty more. The NCAA Regionals hopefully making a stop in Greenville, NC. We'll get Coach O's thoughts on that. Back with more on the Brian Bailey Show after this.
Hi, this is Jeff Charles, and this is a Pirate Radio Sports Break presented by Ron Ayers Motorsports, Highway 11, north of the airport in Greenville. The Pirates pounded Tulane 9-1 yesterday afternoon at Clark LeClaire Stadium to win the series 3-1 and move into first place in the AAC. Thomas Francisco knocked in 3 runs. Cliff Godwin used 8 pitchers. ECU is now 33-10, 15-5 in the American, leading Tulane by a half game. ECU is at Cincinnati for a 4-game series this weekend. The Orioles lost to the Red Sox 4-3. Rafael Devers and Hunter Renfroe homered for Boston. The Yankees got by the Nationals 3-2. The Braves beat the Phillies 6-1. Atlanta home runs from Freddie Freeman and Dansby Swanson. The Hornets lost to Brandon Ingram's New Orleans Pelicans 112-110. The Kinston native did not play due to an injury. Terry Rozier had 43 points for Charlotte. Eastern North Carolina's Bam Adebayo in the Heat beat the Celtics 130-124. Bam had 20 points. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break.
Okay, let's just try not to embarrass ourselves and everything will be fine.
Yeah, sure, totally. Is that a Pepsi Wild Cherry?
Oh, no. Please, not here. Not here.
Too late. You know something, Steve? Flavor Mania is about to run wild.
Oh, not Flavor Mania.
Pepsi Wild Cherry's about to drop a flavor suplex right into your pie hole. It's gonna hit your taste buds with a top rope elbow of flavor. It's gonna be delicious. It's gonna be refreshing. It's gonna throw your wild cherry loving brain right through the announcer's table.
Oh, I can't take you anywhere.
Flavor Mania doesn't need your permission, Steve, because the world knows that nothing is gonna get between Pepsi Wild Cherry and that flavor championship belt. Are you ready to get wild?
Oh, please don't.
Come
get
on,
wild.
Steve. I said, are you ready to get wild?
Seriously, does this always have to happen when you drink Pepsi Wild Cherry?
You better believe it, brother.
Pepsi Wild Cherry. Now available in 0 sugar. That's what I like.
You demand perfection. That's why you drive the perfect car. Okay, maybe it's not exactly perfect, but it's perfect to get you to Domino's for their perfect $7.99 carry-out deal. Carry out any 3-topping pizza or a 10-piece order of wings, smothered in delicious sauces like hot buffalo, garlic parmesan, and honey barbecue, just $7.99 each. Demand the perfect carry-out deal at Domino's. Carry out only. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, and charges may vary. Excludes XL and specialty pizzas. Crust availability varies by size.
Let us help you get back to business.
This is Donald Stocks
and Justin Judge of PIP of Eastern North Carolina.
We're ready to assist your business with branded PPE. Would you like face masks with your logo? We can do that. Plus custom social distancing signage.
Now is the time to ramp up your marketing efforts. Whether it's cutting edge, contactless, touchless marketing, or traditional direct mail, we can do it all.
We are PIP of Eastern North Carolina.
This is Mike Houston, head football coach at East Carolina University, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show. Now, back to Brian.
All right, welcome back on this Monday. East Carolina taking 3 out of 4 from Tulane in the national rankings. East Carolina now 11th by D1 Baseball, and that's the ranking service that East Carolina uses. So now ranked 11th this week, up from 13. East Carolina ranked 12th by Baseball America, up from 13. East Carolina stays at number 12 by Perfect Game. Why do we have so many rankings in college baseball, Coach? What do you think?
Well, there are a lot of writers and a lot of good ones. A lot of really good people in the game that cover it from the media standpoint, and they study the game well and pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah, okay. Got a question from our Facebook Live feed. If you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, you feel free to do so. Matt says he noticed that our players don't talk to the umpires after a questionable call, and he says it didn't seem that way for Tulane. I didn't see a lot of Tulane talking to umpires on Sunday. I just saw Tulane talking a lot. And the Pirates now, that game 1, They were chirping a little bit, but I think that was all from the comment about taking 1 out of 4 and that kind of. I think everybody was fired up for that.
Yeah, and a lot of the comments I think were made toward each other in the teams. I don't think much was said to the umpires. Now, let me just say this about the umpiring crew. A lot of people, you're always down on an umpire, this umpire, that umpire, and so forth. But pretty good crew in here this past weekend. Grady Smith, who had to plate games 1 and 4. Game 1 and 4. He was the crew chief. He's done the College World Series twice.
Yeah.
In addition,
I recognized him. That's the one I did know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And David Condon was also here, and he's a perennial regional and super regional umpire. So those two guys were really strong. And if you noticed, there were some warnings issued a couple of times, and they squelched things that possibly could happen really early.
And that's the kind of thing you want. In the heat of battle, you don't want somebody trigger happy and just tossing people out, because there's a lot on the line. These guys work 365 days a year, and they all knew that game 4 was pivotal, and they were good. The umpires were good about they issue a warning here, issue a warning there, and keeping everybody pretty much on the field. So that was one of the good parts of this series. Now, game 2 of the doubleheader was game 3 of the series. That's the loss for East Carolina. Pirates fell in that one 7-6. Was the final on that late home run in the 8th. That ball was hit a long way.
Oh my, that ball left the bat.
He got his money's worth, didn't he?
He did. That ball left the bat as well as any we've seen in a while. But you're right. And then we talk about, I think Cliff called it the heavyweight fight, blow for blow, and that's exactly what happened. In that game, Brian, 5 lead changes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that makes for a good baseball game. Wrong team won, but it still makes for a really good baseball game.
And it was high-level baseball the whole weekend, and it's fun to go to the ballpark. I wish more people could go to the park, and hopefully by next year we'll be back to normal and everybody can go that wants to buy a ticket and get that place rocking. But it was really really good baseball. I think in looking at the series, I think Cliff did a good job of making sure his team knew that Tulane was good. And I think sometimes, and we looked at Tulane and the schedule, that maybe they had benefited from playing some of the teams lower in the conference, but still, they put on a good show. They were really, really talented, really, really good. And it seemed like as much going into game 4, the thing I was thinking about was the 2 wins were great. You lose game 3 in a heartbreaking fashion, really. And game 4 had all of that, because if you lose game 4, games 1 and 2 don't mean a whole lot.
Nothing.
I mean, and you hate to say it like that, but that's the truth. Those are the facts. And so you're looking at this game 4, and Cliff made the comment that it was kind of a regional type atmosphere, and it had a regional feel to it. I mean, it was one of those, hey, you got to go out there and win. And the Pirates set the tone early on, and really, it was great to see Wisenhunt back on the mound. I mean, obviously he was on a strict pitch count. I know as a coach, you're like, maybe slide him out there, but Cliff is adamant that we're here to protect our players. We need him down the road. We're not going to get him injured. He's got a professional career down the road somewhere, and so we knew he was going to go 40, 50 pitches. We go 43, I think was the number, right. Yeah. And he looked really good, which is a really good sign for East Carolina. And then the bullpen. What did he throw? 14 pitchers yesterday. I mean, he was looking for people in the stands at one point, I think.
But as each guy came in, they responded. Yeah, and that's what was so good. Collectively, that group and that unit did what was necessary to win, and the word is they consumed innings. And in so doing, the Pirate offense was scoring gradually and putting the game away.
I thought it was interesting too that when you looked at the deal, that it was a situation where guys wanted the ball that day. Cliff said in the postgame, Gavin Williams knocked on his door and said he had 2 innings. And Cliff laughed and said, "Yeah, you'll get 2 plus some, and that'll be next week. You're not getting any more innings." Colmore wanted the ball again, obviously. Right. Matt Bridges wanted the ball again. So these guys really, they wanted to have a chance to get out there and show everybody what they had one more time. And they want to do everything they can. And that's what you get. You talk about a regional, flavor. That's what you get in a regional. Because when you get in a regional, it's almost over. You got to go to people and say, okay, what have you got? What's the, and you go to the mound. If you call time, I go to the mound. Are you out? Do you have one more out? Because when you get to that point, you got to go.
Yeah, and the deeper you go into a game or a tournament, the deeper you go into it, what's the old saying? If you can hold the ball in your right hand or left hand, depending on what you are, if you can hold it, you warm up.
That's right.
And you'll see a mass exodus of people leaving the dugout going to the bullpen, because it doesn't matter if you throw the left fielder or who, but I know that's a bit facetious. What you do throw, though, is the guy that possibly threw yesterday. For 1 out, if necessary, to keep the season alive.
Yeah, I tell you, and that's going to be down the road. We got a little baseball to play before that. In Game 4, I thought one of the keys, Francisco, obviously, here's a guy who can flat out hit, and Connor Norby is the same way. I mean, these guys can just flat out hit. Francisco gets one up in right field with the home run, and I think, again, you're setting the tone offensively with the long ball.
Yeah, and that's a guy who early in the year was as good a hitter as he is now, but was not hitting for power. power really early. But as that power started developing, and one of the reasons possibly could have been his emphasis on going to the backside or going the other way. But regardless, when the power started developing in the season, he has not looked back. He's been the most consistent hitter, I think, of the Pirates all year. And in so doing, you know what people are starting to ask now, some of the pro people, is starting to try to compare him to Burleson.
Wow. Yeah, Alec Burleson. And speaking of Alec Burleson, what a week he had to start the year. I mean, he had a great catch on opening night in the minors playing for the Peoria Chiefs. That's one of the few minor league ballparks around the country. I went to see an old friend, you know, John Altoff, who used to work at East Carolina. I went and saw him years ago. And we went to Peoria and saw the Chiefs play one night. And that's where Alec Burleson's playing right now. And then he had the great catch, and then he had a homer the next night. I think he had a homer the night after that. So he's off to a great start.
Oh, and such a hard-nosed player. I mean, we all know he has tools. We know that, and the pro people are finding that. He can ascend the ladder quickly.
On the same topic, while we're talking about minor leaguers, Jake Agnos had to have Tommy John surgery, and he's out for a while. He's posted a picture this weekend, and you know, he's got a smile on his face. I mean, what a great kid he is, and hopefully he'll get back 100% pretty soon. But you know, you feel for something like that. But there's so many success stories after Tommy John type surgery. So you know, the technology's there now.
Yeah, and both Agnos, Jake and Zach, smile on their face every time you see them. What great young men.
And Zach had a big home run in the game on Sunday.
Brian, as we speak about players, I mean, there's a guy that, and I know he struggled for the most part of the year, but as he has come out, he's come out with a force.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's now the power guy. 2 backside home runs in one game, just a couple of games. I think it was in game 2, and one long right center field.
And he's such a good third baseman defensively, but he had a couple of plays in the game. One was the base hit that got past him, that I've seen him field that one thousands of times. And then the line drive that popped out of his glove. And you know, he was thinking to himself, you know, he goes back and like, if they hit it to me again, you know. But guys have to forget quickly, don't they?
Absolutely. And the angle to the ball, I think that had something to do with both those plays. Sometimes when you move over, you're really moving back and over. Now you're seeing the ball from a different angle, and sometimes that has an effect.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of us wouldn't think about, but that's so true with infielders moving around and doing different things, and the shift that they put on with different batters. And you're coming at balls, double play balls are completely different sometimes with the shift on.
Also, the shift, you know, it works so effectively at times. At times, it also doesn't work, and it works against you. But players are actually playing out of position when they're in a shift, and then you have to think about that. Not only the throw you make after fielding the ball, but maybe where's the guy coming from who's going to cover second base?
Yeah, it's a completely different game at times. So Game 4 goes to the Pirates in a big way, 9-1. When you look back at this series, I think you look at Games 1 and Game 4, and you say, hey, you know, the better team most certainly won the series. And then you look at Game 2 of that doubleheader. I don't want to say Game 3 was a fluke, but I think Tulane gets out of here thinking, man, we had every chance of going 0-4 in this deal, and at least we got one.
Yeah, and the one game they did win, although they played well, as did the Pirates, but nip and tuck affair, as we said, but more important, they really had to work for they labored, so to speak, for their win. Pirates twice comfortably took the game and dominated.
And if everything goes as we think it will down the stretch, we've got 8 games still to go. Pirates and Tulane will probably be in different brackets when we go down to Clearwater for the tournament, so that'll be another deal. Is it the same? Have you seen the bracket? Is it the same type double elimination tournaments on both sides, basically? And then
2 4-team double elimination.
Right.
Winners meet at the end.
For one game.
One game
only for the championship game. Okay.
Yes.
That's the American tournament. We'll talk about Clearwater coming up in just a bit. We'll take another commercial break. Back with more from your Facebook Live feed. We've got a couple of comments that just came in. We'll get those to Coach O. Back with the hour's flying by, Coach. Back with more after this.
At Tiebreakers, we pride ourselves on serving
big, juicy wings.
I'm talking
big and juicy.
Our chickens are the same ones that kick sand in the other chickens' faces. If our chickens played football, they'd be linebackers. The competition's chickens, they'd be
skinny little kickers.
Trade those kickers in for linebackers.
Tiebreakers is open every day at 11 a.m. Follow Tiebreakers on Facebook and Instagram for daily updates.
There's no better time to drive away with a quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Greenville Auto World. Greenville Auto World is your authorized rough country dealer. We specialize in lift and leveling kits along with custom wheel packages. Whether you're looking for ground clearance or enhancing the appearance of your vehicle, trust our team for your off-road experience. Greenville Auto World, 3840 South Charles Boulevard across from Hardee's at Bell's Fork, or online at greenvilleautoworld.net.
First came the PCC location, then came the ECU location on Jarvis Street. Now introducing the newest store at 10th Street at the Food Line near Walmart. It's Angus Grill 3. 3 restaurants featuring all of your favorite burgers and more. They've got your classic Angus, steak burger, brisket burger, black and blue burger, sweet sriracha burger, jalapeno popper burger. You get the idea. Now with 3 options for the best burger in town. Angus Grill at PCC, Angus Grill at ECU, and now Angus Grill at 10th Street in the Food Line Shopping Center. It's Greenville's best burger, times 3.
In studio with Dr. Shondell Jones from Kinetic Physical Therapy. Dr. Jones, you guys are expanding and growing.
Yeah, we sure are. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that we actually have a pediatric practice as well. It's called Kinetic Pediatric Therapy. We've got speech, physical, and occupational therapy there just for kids. If you're concerned about your child's development or just want to make sure they're on track, you can bring them in for a screen. If they need evaluation, we're able to do that and help them continue to develop. For more information, you can visit us at kptkids.com or give us a call, 689-6043.
If you love the food at Villa Verde, and hey, who doesn't? Now Villa Verde makes it even easier for you to order takeout. Tell us about it, Jay.
If you go to myvillaverde.com, you can order online, and we'll have it ready for you to go. Plus, you can pick it up at either one of our locations. No waiting in line to pay, and no waiting at all. Just pick it up and go. With online ordering from myvillaverde.com, or from our mobile app, plus even from our Facebook page. Villa Verde, now with 2 Greenville locations to serve you. Villa Verde, a platform for good.
I'm Michael Vaughn with East Coast Grading and Utilities. Many of you know my dad, David Vaughn, and his work in putting in subdivisions all over Pirate Nation. But East Coast Grading and Utilities is not just for those type of big jobs. We're here for the homeowners. Whether it's concrete, driveways, hauling rock, or sand, whatever you need, East Coast Grading and Utilities can get the job done. Call us at 252-531-7494 or check us out on Facebook at East Coast Grading and Utilities.
Artemy, yo ho, yo ho, it's Pirate Radio. Pirate Radio.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show. Now, back to Brian.
All right, welcome back. Josh writes in and says, great weekend for the Pirates, and he says he got a great jungle jump from Cliff yesterday. Cliff said he had a bad knee and a bad hip, and he still made it out there, and he jumped into the jungle yesterday, which was good to see, and maybe next year we'll have all kinds of Pirates jumping in the jungle after next season, during next season, so we hope for that. All right, let's talk about the NCAA tournament a little bit, what has happened to date and what we're going to see coming up later on this week. Schools around the country put in bids. How many bids do you think were put in for the regionals?
My understanding, it was 46.
46 schools put in bids for regionals. All right, of those 46, they're going to choose 20 later this week and announce those 20 sites. There are only 16, so 4 won't actually host a regional. So tell us what you know about that and how that's going to run down.
Yeah, as most of our listeners know that in the past, what's done is the day before Memorial Day, the sites are actually selected as to the 16 sites, and then the next day selections are announced as to where each of the teams go. But due to COVID purposes, to give schools and universities more time to set up that which is needed, because there will be some changes. There's no question about that. You and I have talked about the 50% that the NCAA will allow this year. But to give them a little more time, there'll be 20 sites announced so that 20 schools can prepare to host. And then that gives teams, or 4 teams, to either play their way in or out of the tournament. And a team could get hot. Also, a team could fall on its face. In so doing, and that probably will happen with one of the groups. So 4 out, 16 in.
So of the 20, if you're chosen as one of the 20, you're in. But is there any kind of ranking where you're at, what you have to do? You just kind of have to keep playing good baseball and hope you end up. There are no seedings as far as that goes right now, and there won't be, the way I understand it, there won't be any seedings going forward.
That's correct. And as you said, you very well said, You just have to keep playing good baseball. And in so doing, you don't know where you stand, although there's some things that are obvious. We know that in the RPI, the teams that are in the top 4 or 5, they're obvious. They're givens. Arkansas, Vanderbilt, TCU, Texas, they're in.
Right.
There's going to be no question. Even if they fell a little flat, they'd still be in.
You feel like East Carolina right now will get the call as one of the 20?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question. Right. I say that. Let me just say this, though. Committees are different. I mean, the people on the committee are themselves, so every committee is different. But I don't see ECU not getting in the top 20. And if ECU continues playing well or playing up to its par, then Pirates should be one of the 16 teams.
And taking 3 out of 4 from Tulane was huge as far as that goes.
No question.
Yeah.
Had that not have occurred, then Pirates might have been sitting on some type of bubble.
Okay. And you've got games 4 at Cincinnati, 4 at South Florida, and then you go to the American Tournament. You got a chance to pick up a couple more wins there. But it basically you could go to Clearwater and already know that you're pretty much assured, because if you go and say you go 6-2 in these 8 games, that's a big plus.
Oh, absolutely. And the Pirates are going to pretty much know then that they are one of those 16 teams. But same time, Cincinnati, a club that's playing well,
right,
playing much better. And USF, not at the bottom where they were expected to be. Memphis and Houston has a lock on that. But, tournament, more victories, and even
what has happened to Houston this year? Because I didn't see that coming.
Expected to have really good pitching, not a lot of offense, and I think if the pitching staff falters any at all, now you have a weak club, and I think that has happened.
Yeah. And all teams go to Clearwater, so we've got an even number of teams, so everybody goes to Clearwater.
Right.
And you would go 1-8, I guess, as far as the top seed would take the 8th seed in that first game.
Yeah, the way it works is 1-8 and 4-5 are in one bracket,
right,
and then 2-3 and 6-7 are the other bracket.
Correct. And again, they're 2 separate double elimination tournaments, which is kind of confusing to some fans. I remember, in some years, if one team's undefeated, one team's got a loss, you go to that championship game, it doesn't matter. It's one game for the championship.
Right.
And we had all kinds of issues. Was it 18? Or 19 for the 19 for the tournament was the weather tournament, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you go to Clearwater and you're thinking sunny skies, 85 degrees every day, and that's what it usually is. But that year, and they were moving games to the mornings, and they were trying to get games in. And I remember I stayed. I think the championship game was played on that Saturday, and I stayed. And that Sunday was actually the best day of the whole week. I mean, everything cleared out, and the sun was out, and it was really nice.
Yeah. And that was a good tournament for the Pirates.
Yeah, it was very good, and it's a place I think that the Pirates, they've had a lot of success down. I think Cliff likes going down there.
Oh yeah, and they've played a lot on Sundays, even when they didn't win.
Yeah, but that's coming up after the Cincinnati games coming up this weekend, South Florida the next weekend, and then in Clearwater, Florida for the American Athletic Conference tournament, and then the NCAAs. Let's go back to the NCAAs before we take our final break. Now, when we go, for argument's sake, we're going to cut it to 16, and East Carolina has been given a regional, and they're going to host 3 other schools in this regional atmosphere, this regional tournament. What happens as far as the super regionals go? Do they play the whole regional tournament and then reseed, and then you'll find out if you're at home for the supers?
Now, this is my understanding, Brian, that it's not a reseed. They're not going to seed at all. But after the regionals are over, 16 teams, the NCAA will make its pairings. The committee, I'm sorry, not the NCAA, the committee will make its pairings. So it's not whether one would play 16. It's more who's left, who are those 16, and let's pair them up.
So
now, geography.
Got a lot of questions about that.
Geography, will that play?
Yeah.
Probably. Merit, will that play? Yeah. Who's hot? Will that play in it? We'll see.
And you think about that because it's geography. But what if you get 2 of those SEC teams that will they try to take? They may have to have the conference have 2 teams playing us.
Oh yeah, that
probably will.
That easily could happen. But as to the quality of those teams, I'm sure they're going to take into
right
play, as if it were seeding, but not seeding as such.
So in some respects it'll be geography. In some respects it'll be seedings that aren't really seeded.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm sure that's going to be the biggest player.
All right, John just wrote in and says he's guessing the team will stay in Florida after the USF series, and that is correct. We talked to Coach Godwin and company, and I think we had that on the TV show last week, but he kind of laughed when I asked the question, and he said, no, they're staying down there. So that'll be a nice trip. You going down the whole time?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
And Thursday, Friday, Saturday, USF, and then tournament begins on Tuesday.
Yeah, and everybody, as we said, all 8 teams will play on that Tuesday. That'll be a long day at the ballpark. The ballpark there is really nice. It's the home of the Philadelphia Phillies minor league, or the Clearwater Threshers are the minor league team that plays there. It's their spring training home. So they've got fields all around. There's plenty of places to take batting practice, to do different things. And when we were down there last year, a lot of the young, Phillies players, were down there working out and getting, extended spring training and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and interesting to see them, and also to watch a little of the workouts.
Oh, yeah.
But going back to the question, it's also a time that the teams come in on Sunday, so they have to be there early. Monday is practice day.
Yeah,
all wanting to take advantage of that.
Okay, so everybody will practice on Monday at the stadium.
At the stadium,
at the ballpark right there, the home of the Clearwater Threshers. So that'll be good too. All right, let's take our final commercial break. We'll come back with more of your questions or comments for Coach Gary Overton on our Facebook Live page, and we will continue on with Coach O after this.
In studio today with Natalie Edwards from AG Home Solutions and eXp Realty. Natalie, you have a unique partnership because you work in the real estate market and also work with AG Home Solutions. How does that help your clients?
So it's interesting, the trends that we're currently seeing in real estate. Inventory is so low. We're seeing a high percentage of folks who want to renovate their spaces, perhaps add a home office because now they're working from home. And so they come to us with those design ideas, and we're able to help them navigate through that.
What other trends are you seeing in the marketplace right now?
Yeah, so we're definitely seeing increased needs for home office space, folks being able to do virtual learning from home. So how can we redesign that space so it's functional? We're also seeing folks that do want to take advantage of this being a seller's market, and so they want to freshen up that space and get it ready to put on the market. And so we can come in and provide them with some good guidance on things that they might want to consider before they list their property.
For real estate or remodeling, how can folks contact you?
252-947-2526 or aghomesolutions.com.
With rates being historically low, now is the best time to buy or refinance your home. This is Talbot Green with Angel Oak Home Loans. Now is the time to take advantage of the opportunity to buy more home or refinance your current mortgage. The combination of our local team's experience and Angel Oak's wide offerings of products from standard conventional, government, and portfolio loans has something for most financial situations. For more information, call Talbot Green, Joanne Weir, or Wanda Hager at 751-2060.
NMLS 1719250 and 685-842. Equal housing lender.
Introducing Tommy Club, the best car wash value anywhere. Starting at just $19.99 a month, you can wash your car as often as you like, and also take advantage of our express lanes exclusively for Tommy Club members. You can enjoy a gentle belt conveyor ride to a spot-free shine faster and as often as you like when you're a member of Tommy Club. Plus, our vacuums and mat washers are always free. We're Tommy's Express.
Tommy's Express Wash, now open on the corner of Greenville Boulevard and Red Banks Road in Greenville.
The convenience of Pitt Greenville Airport is waiting just outside your front door. Service is back, so you're connected to destinations worldwide through flights from American Airlines. Plan your next trip. Book your flights today at flypgv.com or aa.com.
Ready to travel and take a trip? American Airlines has recently added more flights in and out of PGV. Book today and enjoy the friendly convenience of flying from your local airport. American Airlines, now with more flights available at PGV. Book today at aa.com. PGV, where the pirates fly.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by GolfKnickers.com, the world's leader in traditional golf apparel. Hosts Mark Greenhelch and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop.
Great food, great atmosphere, and great service is Ottavola Market Cafe. Ottavola is simply a restaurant that focuses on that, being a great restaurant. There's something for everyone at Ottavola. The menu offers a variety of great choices like pastas, pizzas, sandwiches, soups, salads, and seasonal rotating selections. Lunch or dinner, Ottavola is always the right call. Call ahead and get Ottavola to go, or stop by the bar for a drink with friends. It's simple. Come and eat at Ottavola Market Cafe, Red Banks Road next to Food Lion, and OttavolaMarket.com. Ottavola, Pirates supporting Pirates.
In studio today with Rafiki from F3 and another community event coming your way this week. Tell us about it.
This Friday at the Drew Steele Center on Elm Street, F3 ENC is sponsoring what we're calling a Free to Bleed blood drive from 11 to 4. You can sign up at redcrossblood.org to get your appointment. We'll have you in and out as quick as possible, and everyone who gives will receive a $5 gift certificate to Amazon.com. Help us meet our goal of at least 25 units and be a part of saving lives in Eastern North Carolina.
Pirate Radio.
Being a part of the program, being a student athlete at ECU, they are going to be very much in the spotlight.
The voice of the Pirate Nation. You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show. Now, back to Brian.
All right, welcome back on this Monday. East Carolina taking 3 out of 4 from the Green Wave of Tulane. Pirates are back in first in the American Athletic Conference. And as we said a couple of times during the show, Pirates up to number 11 by D1 Baseball. And that's the poll that East Carolina and ESPN Plus uses. And I tell you, the broadcasts have been really good on ESPN Plus. Some of the ones they use, Corey and yourself, and Corey's done a great job doing play-by-play. East Carolina's really lucky to have you and Corey doing the games, because there have been years past, and it's been several years, but it's hard to find somebody to fit in those roles, because I don't want to ask you what you make, but I know you're not getting a multi-million-dollar contract for that. But it's great, great radio, great television.
Yeah, radio network, really good by IMG, and certainly a big thing there. But the ESPN Plus this year, anything added technology-wise that just enhances the fan experience. Really special, and Pirates have that.
All right, we were talking about the regionals, and I think it's just fascinating, so we'll close it out with more talk about that. Once we get the regional sites announced, and they'll announce those, the 20 coming up later this week, and then the 16 will be announced the same Sunday that they usually do. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then you'll play your regional, and as a Pirate fan, if you're hosting a regional, you're kind of rooting for upsets on the other sides all over. Usually you're rooting for an upset, if you're seeded 10th and Louisville's seeded 7th, and you're rooting for Louisville to lose, and maybe you get a chance to host. Now you're rooting for other teams on the other side to lose as hosts, and then you might move up the ranks. But they're going to pair it, as you said, they're going to look at regional deals, they're going to look at RPIs, and there's no telling who you're going to be playing. But you got to get there first.
Exactly. That's the thing. You still have to win, regardless of who's in your regional, who you're paired against after. Yeah, still have to win.
Final thoughts, Coach. How fun has it been to watch this team play this year?
Very much.
Especially coming off last year and everything that happened there. I mean, how much fun has this been for you?
Yeah, well, just getting back into the realm of baseball, and like any fan, just to see, we all like long balls, we know that, and we like pitching performances that are stellar, but the finite points of the game, base running, this team is outstanding. Base running, we talk a lot about them going first to third, second to home, and actually stealing runs, and Pirates do that so well. That's the part of the game you like to see.
Is there anything that worries you about the Pirates right now as you go moving forward to the 8 games in the regular season and the tournament?
To everyone until yesterday, maybe there was a concern in the bullpen. That was
squelched, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, you look at Carter Spivey doing what he did, and just the guys that came out. I mean, it seemed like everyone came out with a purpose, and they got the job done, and that's what you want out of your bullpen. And you're really blessed to have 6-year seniors like Cam Colmore and Matt Bridges.
Leadership there, and go back to the guys as you said, like Carter Spivey, Danny Beal, all of those guys that came out, Garrett Saylor, all of those guys who have had really good outings in the past. Yeah, those guys are going to produce. Someone will step up as the year goes on.
All right, we're going to close it out. Chris Bray just sent a comment in, and he said he saw where Tulane's head coach said that one of the home runs wouldn't have made it out of their stadium. He says he forgot to bring up the other ones would have gone out of the Superdome. What a great
Good
comment
point,
from Chris.
Yes.
What a great comment. Thanks so much, Coach O, for being with us today, man. You just you shed some light on things that baseball is such a fun sport to watch, and you know so much about it. And we certainly appreciate having you on today.
Thanks so much, Brian.
And we'll see you down in Clearwater in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Bella's coming too, so she'll be looking for you.
Oh, same here.
All right, that's Coach Gary Overton joining us. That is our show for today. We'll see you back here next week on The Brian Bailey Show. Have a great Monday, everybody.
This has been The Brian Bailey Show, brought to you by
Bostic Sugg Furniture, East Coast Grading, Angus Grill, Greenville Auto World, Papa John's, Pepsi, Seared Chop House, Taft and Hagler, and by Timebreakers.
Join us next time for another edition of The Brian Bailey Show, exclusively on Pirate Radio.